Welcome to Wild Women Wednesday, How to Overcome Your Gremlins. Give me a moment to get this streaming live into the wild revolution. I'm still here. Here. Oops. Ah. Hi, I'm here. I'm just getting this into the wild revolution. How do I get it there? Hi, I'm here. Just getting this into the wild revolution. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. Hi, I'm back. Hello. Welcome to Wild Women Wednesday and How to Overcome Your Gremlins. Thank you for showing up here today with me. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about where we're going. I'm going to give you my 3 best strategies for how to get over staying stuck and small. Hi, Janie. Oh, nice to have you here. And yeah, oh wow, so nice to see you. Janie was at the workshop this Saturday. That was awesome. Oh, and Jill's here. Hi, Jill. So nice to have your company. Yeah, so what we're going to be up to is my 3 best strategies to get out of staying stuck and small and just dealing with those pernicious gremlins, so that you can have more joy and freedom, so that you can have deeper intimacy, so that you can be one of those unstoppable people that you admire, who, they just go for it. So my gremlins are just happening today. I'm just having one of those, you just kind of want to pull the covers over your head day. I don't know. I woke up and just felt existentially sad. And yoga didn't help. A latte didn't help. Oh, hi, Dion. Going to the thrift store didn't help. And this was just going live is the last thing in the world I wanted to do today. And it's nice to have your company. It feels better. But man, my gremlins were acting up moments before this call. I'll tell you what they said in a little bit. So let me tell you a little bit about kind of where I'm coming from today. So I'm in the middle of inviting people to join Wild Women Rising, which there are these calls where it's really about inviting these women to go for their dreams. And in the course of these calls, we get in touch with what might be possible. And then we kind of dig into what's holding them back. And then by the end of the call, they're standing on this precipice where they can see what they want on the other side of it. And some people say yes, and there's this leap. And what I found is when we dig, no matter how external the cause seems to be, it's almost always fear that's holding us back. And we are in a time where things are getting shaken up more and more, right? And there's a call for us to step into action. And so the main thing to do with that is to overcome the fear bit by bit. And so I am really motivated to help give you the tools to do that, because it's not easy, is it? And the more trauma you've had in your life, the harder it is. So I want to give you some tools that over time can really give you the strategies to talk yourself through these moments and take those leaps so that your world gets bigger and bigger instead of shrinking smaller and smaller. Because the fear is there to help us. It's a survival mechanism, but I mean, so much of the time it's misguided. All right, let me just jump in right away and give you I haven't figured out a way to do this because I know it's all backwards, but here's my favorite drawing. Some of you have seen this before. So, here's your comfort zone. Hopefully you can read that even though it's backwards, and here's what you want, this thing that you're going for, it's way out here. And then your gremlins, this says go back, this says danger, and this says roadblock gremlins. So, you can have your dream and it's all kind of nice. And then when you start to get close to it, the gremlins just say, we don't know what's on the other side of that. It's scary, and then they'll just come up with all these reasons why you shouldn't. And they'll shapeshift until they find something that works because they're panicking. But really it's just unknown. And so in my life, I encounter them anytime I do anything that's new. When I first started doing these calls, these Facebook Lives, they were screaming at me. And it was just because it was unknown. So it's important to put these anchors along the way that make you stay to your course. And so I'm going to be giving you some tools to talk with these. But I mean, right now, think of people in your life. You can kind of tell the folks who, when they encounter that fear that always happens when you get to the edge of what's familiar and what's known. And, think of the people in your life who have made a habit of letting the fear win. And maybe you've even had a chapter in your life where this has happened, and you can watch their world shrink and shrink of what's possible for them, what's inside their comfort zone gets smaller and smaller, it retracts. And it's really sad to see folks like this later in life. They just don't have the muscle to do those things that are outside their comfort zone, and their world is so small, and it's so sad. And I hope you're terrified of becoming that way, because I don't want that for you. And conversely, you can think of the people in your life who, and maybe there's been chapters in your life of this for you too, where you've said yes, you get to that edge and you find a way, your heart's beating, and you find a way to go over it. And then your world gets bigger, and there's this rush of dopamine, of energy that just kind of says, bring it. What's next? What's the next thing? And then you have that rush to, you can make your world even bigger. And it doesn't even matter where your edge is, right? Like the bravest person I can think of in my life, a client I worked with years ago, she grew up with a lot of trauma, really scary father, scary church culture. Not all church cultures are this way, of course, but the one that she was in, was very fear-driven. And so for her, doing something radical looked like posting images of tarot on her Facebook page, because there were so many people in her life who would then write and tell her that she was the devil. So for many of us, I post images of tarot, it's no big deal. But for her, that was edgy. So it just doesn't even matter where the edge is, it's that you push it. And that makes that muscle stronger. So I would love to hear from you. The biggest voice that's holding you back right now. In the it used to be called my Soul Journey Workshop. Now I call it the 5 Steps to Create and Live Your Vision Workshop. We do this exercise where we write the voice on a note card and walk around with them, and a lot of the voices, I'll give you some examples. You're not good enough. That's probably the most common with women, at least. You don't deserve this. They'll see how incompetent you are. You should really just stay safe and let other people who know what they're doing do it. What if you fail? These are some classics. So I'd love to hear from those of you who are here now. What's your current most troublesome voice that really gives you pause to go for it? I'd love to hear you type it below, and those of you who are watching, give some love to the folks who are writing. Just, if you see something that somebody writes, just write me too. And if you're watching the video after the fact, go ahead and type it in anyways. Sarah Marie. Hi, Sarah Marie. Success is scary. Oh God, yeah, that's one that comes up a lot. What if I succeed? Yeah. Oh, that's such a good one. Yeah. Totally, I know that one. That one comes up a lot. You need more training experience, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, yeah, that one is so common. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Jill. Yeah. So I'm going to dive into the strategies now. So the first strategy is around how to work with them. So it's basically, oh, Allison, you don't look like the picture of health. So who are you to give health advice? Oh my God, these are all so good. And it's so funny. I'm just doing so many of these calls with the women. It's like, I recognize all of these. Like, you are not alone in all of these. You are not alone. Oh God, that's such a, yeah, when I do the calls with for my business coaching, there's so much around stepping into being a guide that you have to have it all together, right? Like, if I'm going to help people with body image or health, like, I need to have this perfect body, and God, it just gets in our way, right? Because Allison, I know you have so much to offer. And I think it's even better when you're imperfect, right? I mean, that's like one of the biggest feedbacks that I get is like, oh, I love watching you because you just you're so imperfect. Which, yeah, it's just so nice to be somebody who's just a step or two beyond. It's so much more relatable, isn't it? That you don't have to have it all together. So everybody take a deep breath. Into just being imperfect. Yes, yes, yes. First step is to notice them. So not necessarily. I mean, how many times have you, this has happened to me, find yourself just on autopilot walking to the fridge? And for me, it's like, I'll grab a beer and I'm prying the top off and it's like, what just happened? And if I can trace it back, there's usually something there. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to have a beer, but oftentimes it's like, there's a voice that just came into my head that made me feel really awful. So it's like pausing before you numb. Other people, you're heading to the freezer for ice cream, or I have a friend who just reads sci-fi, which would be a lot better than beer or ice cream. But, whatever your thing is, it's still just as harmful to numb out. Sometimes we need to do that to titrate the intensity. But the most important first step is to get that meta voice that is noticing, oh, what just happened? What did that voice just say? Yeah, gosh, I had a call with this awesome woman the other day, powerful young woman, and she told me this is her voice. You'll never be able to live in the world the way you want to. You'll always go back to the wrong way. What's wrong with you? So some of these voices are just, you can't even sit with them for a minute, right? That's more of a shame voice, that it's not like you do this wrong or that wrong. What's wrong with you? Which would require a lot of numbing out to not sit with that. So let's breathe into that. Yeah, whew, that's an intense one. So the first step is just even, and so she was at the stage of recognizing, like, holy shit, you know. And then when I repeated it back to her, it was even a deeper awareness of like, fuck, that is what's going on in my head. No wonder I'm numbing out big time. So the next step with this then is to realize that actually the voice, hi Stefania, the voice is there to protect you. I know it's so weird. So we want to just like obliterate them, you know, like if you could just drop a nuclear bomb on that voice, you would, but it doesn't work that way. So strangely, the voice is trying to protect you. And again, like I said before, the more trauma you've had in your life, the stronger the voices are, because they usually emerge at a pivotal time in your life as an ally, and sometimes they were helpful in your childhood, that they showed up to kind of prevent another person from saying something to you, that if you can just catch it before they can, and modify your behavior, or you know, the voice will keep you small, keep you under the radar to protect you from emotional or sometimes physical damage. You know, sometimes this is in our families, sometimes it's at school. And so it's kind of like this character that jumps into your life at this pivotal time, and at that time it was helpful. And so it's recognizing, you know, you're kind of out of the way of danger mostly now, and you're an adult, and you have much better ways of dealing than the limited ways you had back then. So it's a matter of starting to have a conversation that. It's like you can't obliterate that person because it's a part of you. So it's reassigning them to a new role. And we do this in Wild Women Rising. We actually dress up the voice in costumes, and then we walk around the room and we, you know, say whatever it is to each other. And it gets really comical, you know? There's like people in old lady costumes being like, you should be ashamed of yourself. And, you know, people with guns being like, what's wrong with you? You know, you slut, or, you know, it's just funny to have all these characters in the room walking around. And as Wild Women Rising has gotten bigger, hi, Sunny, it's fun to have more of those characters in the room. And then we sit down and have a dialogue with them and say, you know what? The war is over. We are safe now. I am a grown-up now. And I want to reassign you to a different role. And it takes time. It really takes time, which is why you kind of need a 6-month program to do this. But you can start doing this on your own. Once you start noticing the voice, then having a dialogue, externalizing it, you know, like in those, putting it in a costume. Maybe you could draw a sketch of it. I've had clients do that, where they draw sketches of all these different inner characters. And give them funny names, you know? And then find your wise, it's funny I said wild, your wild, wise self. So then you want to find the voice, Erin Tracy, hi. You want to find the voice inside of you that's just the wise one. You know, maybe it's the parental, and if you didn't have parents, you're going to have to find someone in the external world to internalize. I'll talk about that in a moment. And you want to give the power to that voice. So the gremlin voice then goes to the back of the bus, and it's like, hey, I think we should stop, pull over, we're going to the edge of town, of comfort zone town. And then the wise voice says, oh, sweetie, I hear you. I know you're scared. I know this is scary, but you know what? I am in charge. I know what the risks are, and I think we're going to be okay. So, okay, step 2 is what I was about to mention, which is finding mentors and guides. It's so helpful, especially if you did not have the best parents, to internalize someone from your external world who can talk to the gremlin. So then you can start to talk to the gremlin the way they do. And also, hey, Carrie, nice to have you here. Also, to have someone who's role modeling what you're going for, because then you can talk to the gremlin and you can be like, well, so-and-so is doing it and they haven't been obliterated, they're doing it. And so I know it's possible. And I'm going to go for it too. Please stay on for a second. I'm going to go grab my phone cord because I think I'm at 10%. Although maybe I can make it to the end of the call. Hold on one second. I'm going to get my phone cord. Sorry. Hi, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Okay, let me just plug this in because I don't want to run out of juice. Okay. There we go. There we go. Oh boy, now this whole thing's coming up. Go away, go away. Okay. Hi, thank you for hanging in there. Yeah. Oh yeah, so until we have those mentors or guides, and until we work on the voices inside, we project them on to people in our lives, the gremlins. So for the longest time in my younger adult life, there would always be someone in my life who represented like what being a true adult looked like. There's always someone at each job I had, usually an older therapist or some, not always older, but it's like someone who's like really truly has their shit together. And then I'd always feel kind of like policed by them. Hopefully, tell me if you relate to this. It would feel really good to have someone relate to this, where it's just like, there's someone you hang out with and you just like, I would always just feel kind of messy around them. I'm just kind of not really an adult. Like I haven't figured out my stuff yet. And I'm just way too outside of the box. I'd always find someone in my life to play that role for me. And I'd be kind of fearful of them figuring me out. And then I did a lot of work around that voice. Actually, I went to a workshop with Tom Sterling here in Davis. He's awesome. Called Dancing with Your Judge. And I had this conversation externally with somebody playing that role, and just it forever shifted. A lot of other work went into this as well, but it's like when you do that work to overcome the voice within, it disappears from the world at large. Those roles, that cast of characters, that play that you're broadcasting onto the world around you, the characters shift. So that's amazing. So the other thing you can do is to write out on paper. Those of you who don't have people who are gonna play act this with you. You can write it out on paper, you know, what the voice says, and then call in your wise self or your therapist or someone in your life, your mentor, your coach, who can talk to that voice and respond. So it's really important that you respond. This is kind of like the advanced step 3. So for example, about 20 minutes ago before this call, I just really didn't want to do this. And here, my gremlin was like, God, Flory, people are sick of you just popping into Facebook every Wednesday and you just kind of say the same stuff over and over again. And, you know, it's all about you. You just want to be admired, or what else was it saying? God, just stop bothering people. Oh, and of course, no one's going to show up. You're just going to be live and no one's going to be there. But I'm familiar with this gremlin, so I just talked with it. I said, hey, you know what? People might not show up. Maybe it is getting old. I don't know, but you know what? We committed to this, and so we're just going to keep doing it. And if no one shows up after like 2 or 3 more, we'll figure out something. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I love you too. We'll figure out something else to do. Maybe you don't want to do Facebook Lives anymore, but you know what? We're going to show up today because we committed to it, and we'll just see how it goes. Worst case scenario, like no one shows and you're just like talking to yourself. Who cares? It's no big deal. And you know what? You don't have to pretend like you're excited to be here and you've got it all together. Just tell them how you're feeling. Just show up and be you. So that's where I arrived. Here I am. And that's kind of going back to the anchors. I just kind of mentioned this a little earlier. I didn't draw them on here, but it's important to put anchors between where you are and where you want to be. And what I mean by an anchor is things your wise self has put along the way. So my wise self was like, okay, we're gonna show up, we're gonna do these Facebook Lives, and then it's nice when you put a fire under it, like you tell everyone what you're going to do. Aw, thank you, Erin. Thank you, Jill. You tell, like, so this is a perfect example, right? It's so nice when you just say the gremlins out loud, then you can get some love back. And just realize you're not alone. Like, just get them externalized. Another thing I didn't mention is you can call up a friend, like have your friend who's in the know, who knows your gremlins. You can be like, look, the gremlins are acting up. And then your friend can give you the pep talk if you have a hard time accessing that wise voice. But so the anchors are these goals you've made along the way that are kind of hard to retract from, because as you get closer to whatever it is that's stretching your comfort zone, you're really going to want to find a way to just like pull the covers over your head. So if you can set these things that you kind of have to show up for, it sure helps. Yeah, and when I used to do therapy, you know, part of the reason I have the 24-hour cancellation notice is 9 times out of 10 when people cancel last minute, it's because the gremlins, like those are the sessions they need to come for. So it's really helpful to have some barrier that you create for yourself that is going to allow you to not let the fear win. Okay. Let me just see what other tidbits I want to give you before we wrap up. Yeah, and another thing about having mentors is it's just nice to surround yourself in a bubble. When you're around people who are doing the thing that you want to do, it just normalizes it. So when your gremlin's like, oh my God, this or that's going to happen, you can say, you know what, this other person's doing it. it just feels less scary. So my mentor right now, Sage Levine, one of my mentors, she's got I'm part of one of her programs, and she's got all this audio, and so I have it all on my phone, and just when I'm riding my bike to yoga or just feeling down, I'll pop on the audio, and just 5 minutes of hearing her talk just expands my idea of what's possible and just keeps me in that bubble, you know? So being around other people who are questing and pushing back their comfort zones, that'll do it. Okay, the last step is to surrender to spirit. So make it be bigger than you, because it is bigger than you. So the thing that you're striving for, you're being guided, and it's so important to get the ego out of the way. So one thing I do, hi Leif, before these calls, before workshops, before groups, I do one of two things. I'll shake a rattle, or I'll put on some music and dance. And while I'm doing that, I just think of the bigger thing that I'm trying to do, and just get my pesky little tiny ego self out of the way, and just say, you know what, I'm showing up for these people. This is my intention. Just shush. It's not about you. It's something bigger than you. So that's all I wanted to say. And the only invitation I have for you today, first of all, I'm not going to be here the next 2 weeks. I'm going to take some time off to just chill. And my goal for the next 2 weeks is to bring some more fun back into my life. I've just been a little serious lately. And I just want to get experimental and playful, and I want to invite some of that energy into your life too. So I'm going to be having some downtime, getting back my creative juices flowing to put some minerals back in my soil. So I won't be here in the next 2 weeks. I will be back with you in early January. Can't remember what the date is, maybe January 6th or 7th. I'll be back with you then, and we'll just keep the journey going, keep the momentum going. And the only thing I want to leave you with today is I'm going to give you the link to my manifestation guide, just some more help along the way. If you aren't already on my email list, this will also get you on my email list to hear about free workshops and other offerings, because I'll be doing that a lot in January and February. There's going to be lots of opportunities to be together live in a room with other questers. It's going to be amazing. So, all right, I just put the link there for you. You can just click on it and you'll get my manifestation guide and get on my email list. Thank you so much for showing up here today. I feel way better than before the call. It's always so worth it to show up for the thing that feels hard or scary you don't want to do. So thank you so much for letting me be right and my gremlins be wrong, that I wasn't alone here today. And I'm just going to keep showing up with you until it really doesn't seem like a good idea anymore. Have a wonderful solstice, and I'll see you in January. Mwah.